Welcome to NFL Talk.
Yeah.
We are diving into a really interesting situation in the NFC South this week.
Yeah, it is a pretty crazy situation.
So the New Orleans Saints are trying to shake off this brutal 7-game losing streak.
Tough.
Yeah, and they just fired their head coach, Dennis Allen.
Yep.
Now they've promoted their special teams coordinator, Darren Rizzi, to be the interim head coach. And their first game with Rizzi in charge, it's against their division rivals.
Oh, wow.
The Atlanta Falcons, who are sitting pretty in first place.
Yeah, they're looking good this season.
Yeah, and remember the Falcons just barely beat the Saints earlier this season, so, there's some extra tension there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is a huge game for both teams. Do you think the Saints can actually pull off an upset here?
It's definitely an uphill battle for the Saints, but a coaching change, can sometimes give a team a jolt of energy.
Oh, yeah.
Players want to impress the new coach, prove their worth, so you might see them playing with a new intensity, and you can bet they'll be fired up to face their rivals.
Plus the game's in New Orleans, so they'll have the home crowd behind them.
That's true.
Even Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins said he's not taking the Saints lightly, especially after a coaching change.
Yeah.
He knows teams can rally in these situations.
Definitely. He's right to be cautious.
Yeah.
But the Falcons have been playing really well this season, and they have some serious weapons on offense.
For sure.
Bijan Robinson, their running back, has been a revelation.
Yeah, he looks good.
He's not just a powerful runner, he's also a threat as a receiver out of the backfield.
He's a real dual threat.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he could cause some serious problems for the Saints defense.
For sure, their coach, Raheem Morris, even compared Robinson's potential to Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
That's high praise.
Yeah, that's high praise considering how versatile McCaffrey is.
It is, and it shows you the kind of impact Robinson could have on the league, but let's not forget, the Saints are going to be playing with a lot of emotion in this game.
Yeah, they want to prove they're not down and out.
Exactly, and they're going to be especially motivated against the Falcons.
Absolutely, and while Rizzi is focused on winning games, he's also inheriting a team with some serious challenges, especially on offense.
Yes.
Their wide receiver core has been decimated by injuries. Chris Olave is dealing with his second concussion. Rashid Shaheed is on injured reserve. And they've lost a few other key receivers, too.
Oh, wow.
That's a tough situation for any offensive coordinator, let alone one who's just stepped into the head coaching role.
Yeah, that's a tough spot.
They're going to have to get creative and find ways to move the ball without their top targets.
Yeah.
They signed veteran Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Okay.
But they'll also need some unproven players like Mason Tipton and Jermaine Jackson to step up.
Big shoes to fill.
That's a lot to ask of those young players.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle the pressure of this rivalry game. But hey, at least they have a kicker they can rely on.
Blake Group seems pretty confident in Rizzi calling him a player favorite.
That kind of trust and respect between the coach and the players can be really valuable, especially during a time of transition.
For sure.
It sounds like Rizzi has the right mentality, emphasizing winning while still recognizing the need to develop players for the future.
Yeah, I like that approach.
But can he pull off the upset in his first game as head coach?
That's the big question.
The Saints will need to play a near-perfect game to beat the Falcons. What do you think? Can they pull it off?
It's going to be tough. The Falcons are a well-rounded team with a lot of momentum, but rivalry games are unpredictable. And, the Saints will be playing with a lot of heart.
Okay, so we've got a team desperately trying to break a losing streak, led by a brand-new head coach, going up against their division rivals who are playing some of the best football in the league. Sounds like must-see TV to me.
Oh, for sure.
I agree. This game has the potential to be a real turning point for both teams. It'll be fascinating to see how it all unfolds. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about how the Falcons are preparing for this game.
Okay.
Their approach has been a bit unusual. Yet, instead of their normal practice routine, they've opted for a midweek walkthrough.
Huh. Interesting.
It's a pretty uncommon strategy, especially this late in the season.
Yeah, that's not something you see every day.
Their offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, sees it as a chance to go more in-depth with their teaching and allow players extra time to recover physically.
Makes sense.
He thinks it'll give them an edge going into the game.
Smart.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
It suggests they're not taking the Saints lightly and are really focused on fine-tuning their game plan.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just relying on their talent. They're putting in the work to be mentally prepared.
Exactly. They're treating this like any other tough opponent, not underestimating the Saints just because of their record.
Right.
This kind of attention to detail could be crucial in a game with so much on the line.
It really highlights how important coaching and preparation are in the NFL, even when you have talented players like the Falcons do.
Absolutely.
It's not just about physical ability. It's about having a smart game plan and making sure everyone is on the same page.
So true. And speaking of talent, let's circle back to Bijan Robinson for a moment.
Yeah.
His emergence has added a whole new dimension to the Falcons' offense.
He's been phenomenal this season, and he's only going to get better.
Absolutely.
His ability to run and catch the ball makes him incredibly difficult to defend.
He's a true dual threat.
Yeah.
And his versatility opens up so many options for the Falcons. They can use him in a variety of ways, which keeps defenses guessing and creates opportunities for other players on offense.
It's almost like having two offensive threats in one player.
Yeah.
You have to account for him as a runner and a receiver.
Yeah.
And that puts a lot of stress on opposing defenses.
Big time.
He's quickly becoming one of the most dynamic players in the league.
It's exciting to watch him develop, and I think he's going to be a major factor in this game against the Saints.
Yeah.
Their defense is going to have their hands full trying to contain him.
No doubt about it. But let's not forget, the Saints are playing at home, and they're going to be fired up.
Oh, yeah.
This is their chance to prove everyone wrong, and they're going to give the Falcons everything they've got.
You can count on that.
Right. And this is Rizzi's first game as head coach, so
Yeah.
he's going to want to make a statement.
For sure.
It's a classic David versus Goliath matchup with the underdog Saints trying to take down the mighty Falcons.
Love it.
This is going to be a fascinating game to watch.
I can't wait to see how it plays out. Yeah, it's interesting to think about how this game could impact the NFC South race as a whole.
Absolutely. The Falcons are currently in first place, but a loss to the Saints could open the door for other teams in the division.
Exactly. The Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are still in the mix.
Yeah?
And a Saints upset could really shake things up.
It would make the race for the division title much tighter and add another layer of intrigue to the final weeks of the season.
Definitely imagine the Saints, after all their struggles, somehow finding a way to sneak into the playoffs.
That would be a wild story. It would be a testament to their resilience and the impact of a coaching change.
Totally. And it would make the NFC South one of the most unpredictable and exciting divisions in football.
Speaking of unpredictable, let's go back to the Saints offense for a moment.
Oh, okay.
They're going to need to find a way to generate some points if they want to have a chance against the Falcons.
Right. And with their top receivers injured, it's going to be a real challenge.
Do you think they'll rely heavily on their running game?
Might have to, but the Falcons have a pretty solid defense, so it won't be easy.
Maybe they'll try to utilize their tight ends more in the passing game.
That's a possibility. Taysom Hill is a versatile player who can line up in multiple positions.
Yeah.
He could be a key factor in this game, especially if they're looking for ways to create mismatches against the Falcons' defense.
It's going to be interesting to see how Rizzi approaches this challenge. He's known for his creativity on special teams, so maybe he'll have some tricks up his sleeve for the offense.
Maybe.
I'm sure I'll have a game plan in place, but it's going to come down to execution. The Saints players are going to have to step up and make plays.
Absolutely. This is a chance for some of those young players to prove themselves.
Like Mason Tipton and Jermaine Jackson.
Yeah.
They're going to be thrust into the spotlight, and this is their opportunity to show they belong in the NFL.
Exactly. It's a high-pressure situation, but it could also be a springboard for their careers.
It's moments like these that can define a player's career. Will they rise to the occasion or crumble under the pressure?
It's going to be fascinating to watch, and it's a reminder that even in a game with so much attention on the quarterbacks and star players, sometimes it's the unsung heroes who make the biggest difference.
Speaking of unsung heroes, let's not forget about the impact special teams can have on a game like this.
Right, that's where Rizzi made his name, so he'll have his special teams units ready to go.
A big return or a blocked kick could be a game changer, especially in a close matchup.
Absolutely. Special teams can often be overlooked, but they can be the difference between winning and losing, especially in rivalry games where emotions run high.
It's often those hidden yards that can swing the momentum of a game.
So true field position is crucial, and a strong special teams unit can give a team a significant advantage.
I'm sure Rizzi will be emphasizing that with his players, he'll want them to be ready to make a big play when the opportunity arises.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how the Saints special teams units perform under his leadership, especially against a Falcons team that's also known for its strong special teams play.
It could be a real battle of field position, which could ultimately decide the outcome of the game.
And speaking of deciding the outcome, let's shift our focus to the coaching matchup in this game.
It's a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah.
You have Rizzi, the new head coach, looking to make a statement going up against Arthur Smith, who's been with the Falcons for a few years and has built a solid program.
It's experience versus fresh perspective. It'll be interesting to see whose coaching style prevails.
Rizzi's energy and enthusiasm could be contagious for the Saints, especially after a long losing streak.
Yeah, for sure.
And Smith's steady hand and attention to detail have been key to the Falcons' success. It's a battle of contrasting styles, which adds another layer of intrigue to this matchup.
It's a reminder that coaching is just as important as talent in the NFL. The right coach can elevate a team's performance and create a winning culture.
Absolutely. And in a game like this, where both teams are evenly matched in terms of talent, coaching could very well be the deciding factor.
It's going to be fascinating to see how the two coaches adjust and counter each other's strategies throughout the game.
This is why we love football.
Yeah.
It's not just about the players on the field. It's a chess match between two brilliant minds trying to outmaneuver each other.
It's a battle of wits, and the winner will be the one who can make the right adjustments and put their players in the best position to succeed.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the potential impact on the NFC South race to the importance of special teams and the fascinating coaching matchup.
We have.
But before we wrap things up, let's circle back to our listener for a moment.
Sounds good. What do we want to leave them with?
I think it's important to emphasize that this game is more than just a matchup between two teams. It's a story of resilience, of a team fighting to overcome adversity, and a new coach looking to make his mark.
For sure.
It's also a story of a team on the rise, looking to solidify its place among the NFL's elite.
And it's a story of a rivalry of two teams with a history of battling it out on the field.
So for our listener, I'd say this. Pay attention to the narratives unfolding in this game. Watch how the Saints respond to their new coach, how the Falcons handle the pressure of being the favorites, and how the rivalry adds another layer of intensity to the matchup.
And most importantly, enjoy the game.
Yeah.
This is what football is all about. The drama, the excitement, the unpredictable nature of it all.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This is going to be a game you won't want to miss. We've talked about the impact on the standings, the X factors, and the coaching battle.
Yeah, we really have.
We've even explored the psychological side of this matchup, like whether it's a trap game for the Falcons.
Right.
But for our listener who might be trying to decide whether to tune in on Sunday, let's bring it all together.
Okay.
So imagine you're sitting down to watch this game. What are the key things to watch for?
Well, first, keep an eye on the Saints' offense. How do they scheme around their injured receivers? Does someone unexpected step up? And how does Rizzi handle his first game-calling plays?
Those are all great points. And on the Falcons side, watch how they use Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Can the Saints defense contain him? And how does Atlanta adjust if they find themselves in a close game?
Yeah.
Right? Because even though the Falcons are the favorites,
Right.
we've seen that this Saints team, especially with a new coach and that rivalry factor, has the potential to be dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. This isn't just another game on the schedule.
Yep.
There are layers of intrigue here, and it could be one of the most exciting matchups of the week.
I agree.
So for our listener, if you're looking for a game with high stakes, emotional intensity, and the potential for a big upset, this is the one to watch.
I completely agree. This is a game that could have major implications for the NFC South race, and it's sure to be a thrilling battle from start to finish.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
It flew by.
Thanks for joining us.
See ya.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.